Reading tonight from Matthew, chapter 27. It's always amusing to me to come up here and try to say something for several reasons. One, it's not really what I want to do. Two is it's always interesting to see what I come up with, because I know I can't do this, so I just say, okay, God, what you want them to hear tonight? And three, my pastor has rose-colored glasses. I've accused him of that ever since I've known him. Back when I used to sit back there behind Sister Suzette, he'd come running up to me after church and say, what a waste. What a waste. I'd tell him, you've got to take off those rose-colored glasses. Because when I look in the mirror, I obviously don't see what he sees. Matthew chapter 27, verse 57, 58. It's always interesting to come up with something and wonder, God, what are you trying to do? Most of the time I realize he's not trying to do nothing. It's me up here trying to do something. When the even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. He begged the body of Jesus. Mark puts it like this: he craved Jesus. Luke put it as begged. And John wrote, he besought him for Jesus. It's interesting that all four of them wrote about this. Well, I'll give you a message, won't it? He hadn't thought about that yet, I don't reckon. One wrote, or two wrote he begged, one wrote he craved, and the fourth one wrote he besought. You can be seated. I want just to talk just a few minutes tonight on I must have Jesus. I must have Jesus. Back about 21 years ago, I was doing a roof job, and the guy that I was doing the roof job for had a backhoe, and he put all the shingles in the backhoe, and he'd set the bucket up on the roof, and I'd reach and grab them and scatter them out, and he'd take the backhoe down, get another load. And man, I'm hurrying because he's on that backhoe, and I'm trying to hurry to get him up there. Man, I was working, and I finally got the last one off, and I sat down on that bundle of shingles, and of course I'm short of breath, and I'm huffing and I'm puffing, and I noticed something. I'd already got out of nursing school, so I was a little knowledgeable about different things, and I noticed that my heart sounded like a washing machine. When your heart beats, it goes ta-thump, 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 ta-thump. And mine was going shh, 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 just like a washing machine. I'm saying just, and you've heard a washing machine. Shh, 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 shh. Whoa, what is wrong with that? And so for 20 years, when I would get under a lot of stress and strain, lifting weights, hiking mountains, just anything that put me under a lot of strain, my heart would do that. Now, I've talked to different doctors about it. I even came up with a name for it. I called it exercise-induced heart murmur. Now, I could go jogging, never have a problem. But you give me 100 pounds of weight and let me pick it up over about 10 times over my head, Or me and Brother Spears, we go hiking up into the Appalachian Mountains, and I've got a backpack, and I'm trying to get up that hill, and should have been going to-toom, 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 to-toom. So it's just one of those things that what you going to do about it? Don't bother me. When I'm having the shortness of breath, I should be having shortness of breath because I'm doing something that would cause shortness of breath, and there's no way that I'm going to go down and see a cardiologist about it, because what's he going to do? If I'm not having any symptoms, he's not going to operate on me, and I'm not going to let him operate. So I've just kind of watched it for 20, 21 years. It's been kind of interesting. And when I did Robin's house, it was kind of interesting for her to feel that shh, 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 as I'm up there packing shingles, strenuous. Last year when we had Brother Bernardini here, we had a healing service. And Brother Spears was up here saying, God's here to heal. If you have something you need healing from, God's here to heal. And I'm thinking, God, there's nothing wrong with me. What can I get a healing from? And I'm trying in my mind, trying to come up with something because God was here to heal. And it dawned on me, why don't you ask Him to heal you of your heart problem? So I said, God, you see this exercise-induced heart murmur that I have. I'm asking you to heal it. I'm believing you because you're healed to heal that you're going to heal me. I didn't come up here for prayer because He said I didn't have to. Wherever you are, just lift your hands. And from that day to this, I've yet to hear that murmur in my chest. I spent 3 days hiking 40 miles in the Appalachian Mountains last September, carrying about 40 pounds on my back and going up those mountains and short of breath and struggling. And I had some hunger problems, but never, ever did my heart murmur. I'm here to tell you today, I must have Jesus in my life. Last year, we was in revival with Brother Bernardini. We was trying to raise some money to continue the revival. Well, I ain't got no sense. I'll give $1,000. We'll go another week. I borrowed $1,000 to have another week of revival. Thinking, okay, God, you just take care of all this. I started school in January. And it was going to cost me $1,450 to pay my fees. I don't know where I'm going to get that money. I just can't write a check. I can, but sometimes they're not any good. So I went out there and I was taking the class, and I went online and said, okay, let's see what's the very last day I have to pay my tuition. And let me see what kind of payments I can arrange. And I'm online, and I'm looking along there, and it says, Senior Citizens Exemption. I paid $40 for a $1,500 class. I must have Jesus in my life. I must have Him in my life. I must have Him. There's another story that goes along with that. The first 3 hours of every semester is free for me. Two years ago, I wanted to pay my tithes and increase them. Don't you get a raise every once in a while? Every year I want my pastor to have a raise. What he does with the money is not my concern. It's just my duty to pay my tithes to this church. I wanted to increase my tithes by $25 a pay period, $50 a month, 26 pay periods. That's $6,000 that I'm paying tithes on. And I can remember in December saying, Jerry, I don't think you're going to be able to pay that. I don't think you're going to be able to increase that. I went to church, went to work the first week of the year. And they said, congratulations, there's been an adjustment in the RN salary. You've got a $5,000 a year raise. In June, I got another $1,500 a year raise. What I'm trying to tell you, I must have Jesus in my life. I've got to have Him. I've got to have Him. I've got to have Him. Oh, I was driving along one day at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to Texarkana up into Arkansas to meet my children. We're going four-wheeler riding. There between Shreveport, Texarkana, I had a flat on my trailer. Blowout on the trailer. I managed to ease it into Texarkana at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. Nothing's open. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm sorry if I'm different from y'all, but I committed everything I have to Jesus. I don't recognize the power of Satan in my life. I don't give him credit for flat tires and empty gas tanks and storm damage and any other damage. He has no power. He has no authority over my life. He has no ability to disrupt my life in any way. So when I have a flat tire, it's not the devil's fault. Oh, if something goes wrong and my truck quits, it's not the devil's fault. So I roll into town saying, okay, God, I don't know what your purpose is in this, but I believe this is from you. And I don't know what it's all about. But whatever it is, let me be sensitive to your spirit. Around 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'll walk into Burger King to get me something to eat because there ain't nothing open. And I'm eating, and there's a homeless man sitting there drinking a cup of coffee. And I got up when I got finished and went by him and said, would you like something to eat? He said, yes, I would. And I went to the counter and I bought him the biggest breakfast that Burger King had. And I said, it's for that homeless man over there, and he did not ask for it. I'm doing this willingly. She said, thank you, sir, for telling us that. I said, just take it over this table when it's ready. And I walked out. And that's the only reason I can see that I was there. By 9 o'clock, I've got a new tire on the trailer. I'm going on about my very merry way. And I was not delayed as far as meeting my children. I don't know about you, but I must have Jesus helping me with everything that I do. I got off work one day. And I use all the personal stories, but I'm here to tell you, I must have Jesus. I got up that morning to go to work and my truck wouldn't crank. I put the battery charger on it, and I says, okay. I went on the motorcycle, and I got to work. And rain that day, and I come home on the motorcycle in the rain. Battery's still dead. And I called Brother Leon. Leon, I need a little help. I'm going to have to buy a couple of batteries, looks like. Because when you got a diesel truck, you got two batteries. You don't just change one. You go in and change them both. Sometime he got there, I had all those batteries off, and I'm waiting on him. And I started to go to O'Reilly's Auto Part. And I said, no, you bought these from AutoZone. And you know, you're wondering, God, why? These batteries aren't that old. I've just had them less than 2 years or 2.5. I don't remember, but it hadn't been that long. They should last 4 or 5 years. Both of them, what's going on? I'm questioning, God, I don't know what's happening. I know you got a reason for this, but I don't know what it is. Me and Brother Leon, I started to say O'Reilly. I said, no, let's go by AutoZone, see what's going on with these batteries. I bought them from there. I walked into AutoZone. I thumped them batteries down on the counter. And the old boy looked at me and he said, okay, what's your name, what's your phone number, whatever it was. He never even looked at the batteries. And he put it in and said, hey, man, these things are still under warranty. He went back to the back. He got me 2 brand new batteries, no charge. One, where's your vehicle? I'll go put them in the car for you. I said, I think I can do that. I'm here to tell you, I must have Jesus in my life. Oh, don't let me get so carried away in my own self, in my own ability, that I forget where my source of power is, where my source of strength is, where my source of encouragement is. Oh, I must have Jesus. And I find here in the Bible where a man that had money, a man that was well known, a man that was called a good man, a man who had a part of the courts, and the Bible says in one of these areas that he did not consent to what happened to Jesus. He stood there and he looked at the one that he loved. He was a disciple, and he said, he's dead. He's on the cross. And there he stands. What am I going to do about Jesus? It wasn't the popular thing to do. It wasn't the thing that everybody else was going to do. In fact, nobody else stood up and did anything. But we're going to let him hang on the cross. But he went to Pilate and he said, I must have Jesus. Oh, he was looking at a death sentence himself. If his buddies would have found out about what he was doing. He was looking at somebody going to make fun of him. He was looking at being stripped of his priesthood or whatever he had. But it didn't matter because Jesus was on the cross and he was dead. And somebody, somewhere, had to step up and do the unpopular thing. I can't leave him on the cross. I can't let him stay there. I can't let him just hang there. I've got to do something. I must have Jesus. Please, Pilate. Please, Pilate. Let me have Jesus. Oh, my. Oh, my. What about all the rest of them? What about all the disciples? I don't know about the disciples. Where were they? I don't know. But it was Joseph of Arimathea, and it was Nicodemus that grabbed 100 pounds of myrrh and body ornaments, and they went and put him in Joseph's brand new tomb that the Bible says he hewed out with his own hands. So let's go put him in my tomb. While I'm preaching about I must have Jesus, I want to encourage you tonight that you must have Jesus in your life. Oh, it's time to step outside of what we can get from God and what He gives us and step in and say, Jesus, I must have you in every facet, in every part of my being. Oh, I'm getting older, and I'm getting older. And I know my health is not going to hold up forever. But if my health gives way, I still want to stand up and say, Jesus, I must have you. If I go broke, and 6 years ago I was broke, I was destitute, I didn't have anything. Oh, but today I can look at my finances. I see daylight. I see some black in the ledger, and I can say it's because of God. But if I lose it all again, I must have Jesus. My truck tears up and I have no way to replace it and I have to walk everywhere I go. It's okay. I must have Jesus. Oh, my. I must have Jesus. I must have Jesus. We get so wrapped up in troubles. We get so wrapped up in tribulations. We get so wrapped up in our own little world, our little pity party, that we forget, oh, we have the most powerful thing in our hands that you could ever hope to. Joseph never realized when he begged the body of Jesus that when he put him in that tomb, he wasn't going to stay there. He never realized that when he put him in that tomb, he was going to come out of there. He never realized anything about the future. All he knew was Jesus was dead, and he couldn't let him stay there on that cross. He had to do something with him. And I believe so many times today that we are guilty of letting Jesus hang on the cross. When if we just get him off the cross and we'd put him back in that tomb, he'd come forth in our lives triumphant and victorious. I believe that He wants us to be victorious today. I believe that He wants us to have victory. I believe He wants us to have healing. I believe He wants us to have financial security. I believe He wants to have a relationship with others. I believe God wants His children to have the fat of the lion. But I'm here to tell you that until you've lost it all and you realize you must have Him more than anything in your life, more than anything, and nothing else matters, you must have Jesus. Oh, I must have Him. I don't want to do without Jesus today. Oh, it's great to have a wife. It's great to have a car. It's great to have a home. It's great to have a job. It's great to have health. But more than anything, I must have Jesus.